Sunday, we were doing Daf Lamed Vav and Baba Metzia, where the Gemara had a discussion where I confided possibly with Alexander to watch my cow. And you were kosher with it, and it went out to the swamp. Instead of it staying in the barn, you left the barn door open, it ended up in the meadow, and it died. Who are the two opinions?
Abaye and Rava.
And they're arguing with what Rabba said.
Right.
Now, we can interpret this as an example of the kilasa of Shia B'Sofa B'Odex. Did you leave the barn door open?
Yes, I did.
But did it die in the barn? No, it died in the agam.
Right.
So Rava takes the attitude, you leaving the barn door open, I have no reflection on how the animal died. The Malach HaMavis is the angel of death, he goes wherever he wants. The same way he could have killed the animal when it was in the barn, he killed it in the agam, therefore you're potter. Tonight we're learning page Mem Beis, one of the last pages of Perek HaMafkid, where we have another classic example of the Chilasa B'Shia V'Sofa B'Yones. You are a guard in a little hut. You possibly, it says that you stay there, but maybe you can kill some birds that pass overhead. Now, if I come over to you and I say, please, here's my paycheck. I got paid today, $1,500. Is there any day, do you think people expect that anybody's going to rob you in a guardhouse? You're out there to shoot birds. So you put it inside of the guardhouse, you go for lunch, and lo and behold, what can happen?
A fire.
What does a fire do to money?
It burns together with the hut.
So this the Gemara on Mem Beis, and you didn't read the words. The words are on Mem Beis towards the bottom. Yes.
A certain person gave money over to his friend.
Urbane.
Shomrim basically put it in a hut of willow branches in Ignuf, and the money was stolen. Omer Rav Yosef would say, Afgav the union genovet nitirusahi, even though the money that were perfect enough protections against thieves, li'inyanura pshiosahi. When it comes down to the regard with the fire, it was a pshia, it was a negligence on your behalf. And this is an example of what we're talking about. Chilosa b'pshia, that initially you were negligent, and in the end it came of an unavoidable mishap. And in those cases, the Rabbi Yosef would paskin that you chayiv.
That's one tradition that we heard from Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Yosef is no longer around. His students, some students said he held chayiv. Ikadami and other of his students?
Ikadami and other students, even though even though in regards to fire it was a negligent, when it comes down to the inyan of protections against the thieves, it was a perfect protection. And this is an example of Chilosa B'Pshia V'Soifa B'Oines Potter. And in this case we learned that someone who was negligent in the beginning, and it came to an unavoidable mishap, he will be not liable.
See, this is students of Rabbi Yosef.
Right. So
some say this is what Rabbi Yosef say, some say this is what Rabbi Yosef say. But before the Ikadami, they said he is chayiv.
Right.
And if the Ayin Mishpat in their mitzvah says we can go to in the Rambam Hilchos Shilo Pikadon, Perek Dalet Halacha Vav, and the Rambam Paskins before the Ikadami that says chayiv.
Right.
Okay, so and this probably is what the Rambam holds for all. There are many different cases of Tikkun B'Shia V'Sofa B'Yones, and I'm hoping that the Rambam is consistent, and in every case he says the same thing. Okay.
And the halacha, Chilosa B'Pshia V'Sofa B'Oines, in all these cases where initial one is negligent, but in the end it becomes an oinus chayav, one is liable.
New case.
Haku Gavre the Afkitzuze Gavre Chavre.
Can we have a close up on him? He's giving me the second case.
So the second case, a certain man deposited money to another friend for safekeeping. So this is talking about Shomer Hinam, or free Shomer. Omerle, he said to him, Haveli Zuzu. So the guy came back to him and says, give me
I
your
gave
money.
you the $500. Give it back to me.
Right.
I'm saying, where's the money?
So the guy answers him, Lo yadanu cheicho oisvinchu. I don't know where I put it.
And I've heard this from many of my children.
Sometimes they don't know what they put. Asa lekamet the Rova. This came in front of the Rova. Omerle, and Rabbi said to him, Kol lo yadanu pshio. So he, Kol lo yadanu. Every case when a person says that I don't know where the money is, it's a pshiosa. It shows that it was a negligent on his behalf. It's Yil Shalem. You should go out and you have to pay.
The kid has to pay.
Right. Because you don't know, or in this case,
No, the
his
kid,
friend.
you said you don't know what you did with it.
Right. So it's
you
your
have to pay.
responsibility.
Alexander, you have to pay. I'm sorry. Third case.
So next time you will know where you put it.
Next time I know not to give it to you.
And that's another conclusion that you can learn from this. Hachu gavre the afke zuza gabe chavre. There's a third case of one man gives money over to another to
You
watch.
have it. Let's say that watch has holding money. You trust me to hold it? You trust me to hold it. Thank you.
It's not a cheap watch, but anyways, sure. Ashlemin chuli ime and
I gave it back. I gave it to my wife or to my mother.
right.
Usmina,
but
the Catalisa. They put it into a chest of drawers.
she put it in a chest of inguf, and it was stolen. Omaraba, so
Who's the culprit? Can you put your close up on the culprit?
the culprit is
It's my mother. She put it away and she put it in the drawer. Somebody took it from her. I don't want to pay you a cent. I didn't. You did. I
I gave it to you. I didn't give it to your mom.
Okay, that's what Rabbi says.
Omaraba, so it came in front of a rabbi. Heichu nedayona, deyano lechaydino. How are we going to rule this? Neima le lidoi zil shalem. So we should tell to the shomer.
Me.
Right.
Pay.
that you
But
should-
Amma, I have an excuse. When I turn the page, I tell you the excuse is.
Okay,
Don't you know, Alexander? Kol ha-mafkid al das yishtu banav ha-mafkid. When you gave it to me, it means I can give it to my wife, I can give it to my mother, I can give it to my children.
Okay, Nema le ima zil shalime. So we should tell.
You are now fighting with Mama here.
Right.
Well, Mama, what did you do? He gave you the money, why didn't you hide it? Where? In the ground, you should have hidden it.
Why did you put it in the chest? Omer.
Amra, she says, Lai Amma li de lavdi deinenu. I never told Mama here that it's somebody else's money.
Right.
If I would have told her it's somebody else's money, she would have known to do what with it?
She would have buried it.
Excellent, continue.
Namely, we should tell her, Amai lo omrasle. Why didn't you tell your mom that this
It's
was
somebody else's money. So it's my line. So I would say, I thought Kosher came, the Chiamino Ledidininu to famous Dyer. If she would have been under the impression it was my money, she would have been more careful with it. She would have double locked the doors at night. She would have called the famous dog. What's the name of the famous dog?
Clifford.
No, the one who goes after
K9?
bed bugs. You don't know. Okay. There's a famous dog. Some dogs are famous.
Lassie?
Okay.
Whatever.
So you've done everything to watch my money, even more than your money. Hello, my Rava. So Rava comes with this new conclusion. Mishtava iu da anu zuze ashli minu le'ime. You make a shvur what?
You make a sure that you gave it over to your mother.
That's me, I think. I made a shvur.
You made a sure that you gave it over to
That's
your
right.
mother, right?
And Mama here makes a shvur that she put it into the chest,
And that there was.
the igno, potter. Okay.
So we're going to end up with two shores.
shores,
One
no
from
money.
you, one from.
But you lost your watch. You lost your money.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna give it back to you because maybe I found it. New case.
Okay.
Please watch the new case.
Alright, next case. Chachu Pt2.mpg. There was a certain administrator of the orphans.
Yes.
The Zova Lehu Torah Liosmi, who bought an ox for the orphans, on Mostra Loi Levakora, and he gave it over for herdsmen for safekeeping.
No, the herdsman feeds it. The herdsman doesn't keep the ox,
Okay.
he feeds the ox.
But he gave it over to a herdsman.
Correct. And the herdsman definitely is a Shemasako, and he's considered professional.
Loi Chavele Koche Vishino.
It turned out that the ox that the apotropos bought had no gums and no front teeth and no back teeth and couldn't eat. Umeis.
And he died.
Yes. So now this case came before who?
Rami Barachama.
And he
And
weighed the decision this way.
Nema le Pt2 Zil Shalem. So he.
If I would say to the apotropos, Zil Shalim, if he would tell me the apotropos I should pay, I yell back at him, I know the big Ramasatiya. I give it to a pro. I don't know about cattle. I give it to who's the pro? The pro is the herdsman.
Because he knows.
Namely, lebikra zil shalim. If you tell the herdsman, pay Oma, Ana Bahadi Ture Ukimta. I give it to the other oxen. I'm not watching only one ox, I'm watching 15 oxen. I didn't know your animal wasn't eating.
Uchle Shadele and I threw food.
And if you ask me why did I give it food, like baby food to eat, I never realized that this animal that was given for the assignment has no teeth. I gave him the regular food, steak, lamb chops, whatever you feed a big bull.
Okay. Michte Lerasi.
Bakra, the herdsman to Shemasacha the Asmehu. So we look at that herdsman and say, we accuse the herdsman of not taking care of the property of the assignment.
Right, because he was a Shomrim Pt2, so he was getting paid. He should have been watching it more carefully. If
there's a pseudo to the assignment, he would have to pay. But here, here, Rami Barachama found out that the assignment went to the seller of the ox.
So this is a special case.
Yeah, the assignment went to the seller of the ox and said, you took my money and you gave us a lousy ox. That's called the mekaktos.
In mekaktos you have to get through.
Elamai Katoyan married the Torah. So what does the owner of the ox say? He should have told us. My modinan le yada the mekaktos. It's obviously a mekaktos. So it says, yeah, the owner of the ox, you would have gotten away with that argument.
Right.
But you didn't buy it from the owner of the ox. You bought it from a safsira, a middleman.
Right?
The Zavin Mehacha, the Zavin Lahacha. He is the
true business person.
He just buys and sells.
Okay.
So Hilchach, again, Mishtava Iu Delay Avayoda. This middleman makes a shvu, he didn't know about the teeth problem. Umishalim Bikra, Umishalim, what does he pay? He gets away with paying a percentage of the loss.
Right.
So we thank our Dayan, Alexander did a wonderful job. We thank our cameraman, because he did a good job. And we will proceed in discussing this possibly on Sunday. Again, this is an Amafkid, Daf Mem Beis, and if my son would have cooperated, we could have had a picture, which we may get tomorrow, of what the hut of reeds looks like. Thank you and good night.